Hello students, welcome to EasyElimu Learning Simplified. My name is Mr. Stanley Ombogo. So just a reminder, dear students, we are doing an analysis of An Artist of the Floating World. And remember, the novel is authored by Kazuo Ishiguro. So in this video, we are going to look at some of the language and style that we are able to get in the fourth episode, that is the fourth and the last episode, that is June 1950. Some of the scenes and the striking events that we have in the episode June 1950. So some of the styles that we are able to identify in this episode, at the first place we have irony. So this is a style that is used in works of literature that talks about a situation in which there is a contrast between expectation and reality. So from the episode, it is ironical that Setsuko insists on precautionary measures in the second marriage negotiations for Noriko, yet the father says there is nothing to hide. So later, as the narrative comes to a close, after Noriko's marriage, Setsuko shows no recall of what she told her father. So this happens when Ono tries to bring back the discussion about, Setsuko talking about or insisting on him taking precautionary measures earlier on. So there is also another style that is quite unique in this novel, dear students, and this is the need of the author to use a narrator who is unreliable. So the novel is structured as a series of Masuji Ono's interwoven memories. So Ishiguro, who is the author of the novel, uses diverse techniques to express the unreliability of Ono's memories to the audience, progressively illuminating that Ono is an unreliable narrator and undermining the audience's faith in his story. For example, dear students, Ono makes frequent digressions into unrelated topics and events during his narration, downplaying and concealing his cruel actions and misleading the reader as to the significance of important topic. So I believe if you have read the novel to the end, you will realize that the narrator, Masuji Ono, keeps on jumping from a topic to a different one, back and forth, which for the first time is kind of irritating. But again, as you read on, you get used to this technique. So again, when Ono recounts interactions with family members, there is indirect reference to the that is to the topic. Hence, the description contains incomplete information, or there is attempt to disguise the truth of what has happened. So it is therefore quite hard for the reader to define the degree of Ono's actions and the responsibility he bears for them. Then, still under Ono as a narrator who is unreliable, he repeatedly reassesses events from his past throughout the novel, which suggests that he is constantly reconsidering his guilt about his actions and ultimately rethinking both the role of propaganda and the construction of memories. So this reassessment, dear students, depicts his status as an unreliable narrator whose narration is subjective. So there is also another style that is dialogue or conversation. So Matsuda and Ono had shared a conversation about their health and shared the progress in both Noriko and other children when that is when he paid him a visit. So this was shortly before the death of Matsuda. So they also had a discussion about their art before 30 and during the war. So there is also another style that we are coming across, and that is imagery. So imagery, remember, is a style that is used in works of literature that uses vivid description that appeals to readers' senses to create a mental picture of the things being described. So under imagery, allow me to first start looking at that is understatement or litotes. So an understatement is a statement that represents something as smaller or less important than it really is. So Matsuda says he hardly thinks the world is extending much beyond his garden. And he and Ono also seem to underestimate the impact of an artist of Japan during the war. So another style that we also get under imagery is personification. And remember, this is when an idea or object is given human characteristics. So Ono says that the sun was shining pleasantly. That is on page 236. So uh, the fact that the sun is said to be shining pleasantly, so the use of the word pleasant suggests that the sun is having some human qualities or human characteristics. So again, Ono describes the place Matsuda walks and says stepping stones that rain across the smooth mounds of moss. So the stepping stones are also given human characteristics. Still on the same, Ono describes what Masuda and him had done the last time he visited. So indicates that Masuda had risen to his feet and put on straw sandals. So they had stepped down in the garden, and the pond that lay amid sunshine of the far end of the garden had stone and moss. Also, there is some aspect of personification in that statement. So there is also vivid description. So Ono gives a vivid description of the day of Matsuda's death vividly. So he says that the sky is a clear blue and a little way down the bank, along where the new apartment blocks begins. He sees small boys playing with fishing poles at the water edge. So another illustration to support this style is that Ono sits to watch how Pleasure District has transformed. So he describes the narrow little street that once ran through the center of the district, crowded with the people and the cloth banners of various establishments, as having become a wide concrete road along which heavy trucks come and go. So there is also another use of a language that is visually descriptive. For instance, the narrator says that where Mrs. Kawakami stood, there is a glass-fronted office building, 4-story high, and large buildings with men moving up and down. Again, it is also said that there are no bars now until one reaches Furukawa. And again, the narrator also says that there are a group of offices that have replaced where the Mijihidari once stood, and a front yard for a group of offices is now set back from the road. Some of senior employees also leave their cars parked in the yard. So another style that is also important to note is a flashback. So when talking about a flashback, this is when a scene in a film or a novel is set in a time earlier than the main story. So talking about flashback, Ono hears of the death of Matsuda and he recalls that he paid him a visit and re-established contact in Arakawa. So again, he recalls that when he had visited Matsuda last, he had been received well by that is by Miss Suzuki, Matsuda's nurse, who also doubling as the house helper. So Ono still recalls the conversation they had concerning their health and the possible regrets Masuda had about his current life. He indicates that Miss Suzuki had received him well and with excitement. So another thing is that Mr. Matsuda had seemed a bit strong and he had taken tea. So again, through the flashback, he had appreciated Masuda's letter drove encouragement during his recent illness, and he had observed Ono's recovery. So another bit of illustration is that Ono recalls how he got disillusioned after receiving the Shigeta Foundation Award in May of 1938. So he remembers that they had held the New Japan campaign and it had proved a great success. But as speeches, drinks, and tribute were given to him, he failed to feel deep triumph and fulfillment the award should have given him. So all these are happening through a flashback. So he also recalls how he had left Wakaba afraid that the future held nothing for him. So we also have the use of local language or local dialect in the novel. So this is simply the use of someone's vernacular or mother tongue. So there is a sensei that is used in the novel to mean teacher. Then we have the word tatami that is also used that means veranda. Then there is also another word that is common in the novel, that is miami, to mean marriage negotiations. So in most cases, dear students, the local dialects or local languages will be indicated in italics. They are normally written in italics in novels. So the last style that we can also not forget to talk about is a foreshadow. So remember that foreshadowing in literature is a device that is used to give an indication or hint of what is to come later in the story. So during the Shigeta Foundation Award of May, that is 1938, Ono had finished the New Japan campaign and it had proved a great success. But as speeches, drawings, and tribute were given to him, he failed to feel deep triumph and fulfillment the award, should have given him. So he also had left Wakaba. He had also left Wakaba, afraid that the future held nothing for him. So indeed, after the war, many people look at Ono as a traitor, and the fears that he had before are confirmed. So Ono's fears are confirmed, and he is now called a traitor after the war. That marks the end of the session, dear students. Thanks for staying with me till the end. Keep it easy, Elimu. Until next time, bye.